Hello, friends of React Today, as part of the World's Web Project. Today we're going to speak a little bit about what's going on. We all know that what the United States is doing is totally illegal. Dysphonic today. I apologize for that. Let us hope that the illegal war against Iran be no other than the re-establishment of international order or the destruction of the planet. Or let us hope that the illegal war against Iran be no other than the re-establishment of international order and law instead of the destruction of the planet. As you can see, guys, we are living one of the toughest moments in history. Why is that? Because we're in the hands of super rich people. And the problem with rich people is that they have zero responsibility towards the economies of the peoples. If you see, the United States has given more than $311 billion updated to inflation today to a country which is controlling the United States of America, the United States of Israel, we can call it. If you go to New Jersey, just recently, there's a reporter that has discovered for us, the country and the world, that the Hasidics and the Orthodox in New Jersey, in a little town in New Jersey, have taken over this town. They can have up to 12 kids if they want to. They are reproducing like bunnies. And the problem is that they are sustaining themselves with American taxpayers' money. They have cars, they have nice houses, they have places of worship, and the people, American people from other descents, are being displaced by these guys on the daily basis, monthly, every year, while this community of Orthodox Jews, which are super discriminatory and don't like anybody else in their town and nobody else in their neighborhoods.
You're not welcome here, and you're not welcome in a lot of other places based on your videos.
You don't own this place, you don't own America.
No, you should move on. Nobody wants you here. Please move out.
Tyler, it seems like you discovered that anti-Semitism is lucrative, no?
So Ted obviously thought that we should pay for their money, so why don't you move to a different country? So
Why don't you go back to Israel? That would be my question.
I got like,
public safety, yeah.
I'd say 150 calls about you already.
What are they calling about?
People try to live a quiet life.
You two gentlemen, I saw a video of you walking into 136 Hillside. They asked not
Fair
to
enough.
come back.
Amazing.
If you come back, it'll be a
trespass
trespassing charge.
You say anti-Semitism, I say anti-Goyism.
The Jewish community is extremely racist.
You have a group of people that call themselves God's people. You are a Semite supremacist.
Elon Musk has 12 kids. Why can't I have 12 kids?
He pays for them. You're arguing that I should pay for your kids.
I'm arguing that the government said.
That's our money. I pay taxes.
Excuse me, sir. What are you doing? Should I call the cops on you? Look at empty.
We may be in a corrupt hellhole. So what am I being pulled over for?
We got a call. Keep your hands on the steering wheel when you do so.
This is Lakewood, New Jersey, home to one of the largest and fastest growing Orthodox Jewish communities in America, having anywhere from 6 to 10 kids per family, causing the community's rapid growth to spill into the neighboring towns of Jackson, Toms River, Brick, and Howell, causing non-Jewish residents to fear that their town will soon be turned into Little Jerusalem, just like Lakewood.
The tactics within this community, I would liken it to organized crime.
You were the vice chairman of the Israel Advisory Committee for Donald Trump in 2016. How did you get a relationship with the White House? Who in the White House?
I think I don't want to say.
Who are we messing with here right now, Chris? Is this video a mistake, man?
I'm going to be honest. The powers out here are pretty immense.
It's not about Jackson. Jackson is a test case. If it isn't squashed soon, is going to take over the entire country.
It's already a problem in all the surrounding towns. You have billionaires from Lakewood being involved, people connected to the President of the United States.
In New Jersey, is there room for a two-state solution?
No, there's clearly not. I think it's going to be a fight.
I ride around Lakewood. There are near Lakewood, outside of Lakewood, and all these towns around Lakewood, there are housing developments. Well, Goyim live there. There are no Yidden there yet, but all these housing developments, someone who they could turn it around. We saw what happened in Lakewood itself. There are a lot of other opportunities if people want to take that jump and become a shtickle pioneer.
As the Orthodox Jewish community consolidated political power in Lakewood, taking majority control of the Township Committee, Planning Board, Zoning Board, and School Board, financially depleting the public school system for non-Jewish kids, overwhelming local infrastructure, and turning a once quiet town into a densely populated, over-trafficked strict Jewish enclave prioritizing Jews over non-Jews. Before I investigate the Jewish takeover of Lakewood and of the nearby town of Jackson, I first want to visit the town where the blueprint was born, Muncie, New York.
Someone like David Badner saw the opportunity a few years ago. He bought several 50 to 100 houses in Muncie. I believe that he single-handedly, in a certain way, turned around Muncie. These are opportunities that come up every once in a while, and someone has to step up to the plate.
Miller News, thanks for meeting up on such short notice, man.
My Muncelandians, you know we here. We outside.
When did you notice Muncie begin to form as a Hasidic Jewish enclave?
I would say 20 years ago, I saw the first start of it, and then every year, it just started to grow exponentially.
Hey!
Different.
It's me. How are you? Stop what?
They on Tyler. Yo, they on Tyler.
Stop. But the Jews here were not happy to see me after I asked how they afford 7 to 10 kids on a single income and if they were on welfare in Curious Joel. How many kids do most people have out here?
17, 18.
How do they afford 17, 18 kids?
They are proud to do what the Torah says, that you need to be multiple and fruitful.
How do you afford to study the Torah, though?
God help me.
Does the American taxpayer help you, too?
Also, yes.
How do people afford to have such big families out here?
I'm not gonna say anything. Are you Tyler?
I'm Tyler.
Are you trying to do another anti-Semitism video?
How did I spread anti-Semitism? That's crazy you said that. Life circumstance, different culture. So this is their way of, like, listen, I know you're frustrated about some of the things we focused on. Is that kind of what I'm getting at? Sure. So give me some examples of how things were misconstrued. Yeah, what did I get that was wrong?
So it's not necessarily misconstrued. Well, it is misconstrued. There's a lot of it that's, you'll cut a lot of it, cut out different words, make it sound a lot worse than it is. There's a lot of people here that are on welfare. A lot of people are in Section 8. A lot of people that are on a bunch of different WIC, food stamps, stuff like that.
Sure.
If you go to any low-income communities, you're going to see that. They're all going to be on the different welfares.
Okay, so they were on welfare.
Yeah,
okay.
No bit of denying that.
Okay.
But again, it's the way you say it, it's the way you twist it, the way you...
How did I twist it?
Not twist it, again,
How did
twist it's the wrong
I'm
word.
just trying to understand where you're coming from.
Growing up in an extremely... Dude, go.
Ah, the insufferable hug. See, you say I misrepresent, and then they do that, like, come on.
I'm not saying they're all good people. It's like I said, wherever you go, there's going to be the idiots. There's always going to be the assholes wherever you go.
I totally get it.
You talk about the community. It feels like you're trying to create a narrative that you did not find. You found people that are on welfare that have a lot of kids, but your headline did wrote welfare addicted Jews.
What is your frustration? I'm curious. Welfare dependent, welfare reliant, welfare addicted. What's the difference? Tell me. They need it to survive, and without it, they die. What is the difference?
It's addictive to bait click. That's an addiction.
That's an addiction?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you addicted to being a victim or what?
No.
The Goyim were grateful someone was finally bringing up their town's issues.
Monserrat, I show you. They take all my money, these people.
You think they take the money?
Of course, man.
Bienvenidos a Muncieland con mi amigo.
Call us anti-Semites for that. Not only that, in New York, in Los Angeles, here in Canada, there are places where they're selling people with good income houses in occupied Palestine and, of course, in the West Bank. This is what an invasive species does. That is an example of what invasive species is doing in Argentina. It's an example of what an invasive species is doing in the politics, not only of the United States, where Democrats and Republicans bow to Benjamin Netanyahu like a god. Maybe they know something that we don't know. Does it have to do with extraterrestrials? Because now President Trump is speaking about extraterrestrials. I made a program about that 5-6 years ago. And the last word I said, one word, colonization. We are under a colonization plan, that's for sure. And who represents those colonizers is nothing but the state of Israel and their communities. When I speak about the Orthodox taking New Jersey, out of New Jersey, just a few minutes out of New Jersey, half hour, 45 minutes, whatever, in that town, Americans are being displaced. Everybody's being displaced. Black people don't have the same amount of money, and the public money is being used and invested in private schools for private transit system, which is the yellow buses that drive the Jewish kids to private schools, where the public education system in that same area doesn't work for black people, doesn't work for white people unless they have good income. So the public money that taxpayers are spending in the government is going, in that case, and in many other cases in America, to these Jewish communities that don't belong in America unless they pay their taxes and work and make money. But these people don't work, don't pay taxes, they're exempt of taxes, and they live like kings. Why? Because they have support from government, and they have support from billionaires that are supporting them in order to take over, colonize America little by little in silence. Shh, don't say anything. Shh, no, don't speak. Don't even opine on anything. You're anti-Semitic. We're going to get you. We're going to ruin you. We're going to make sure that you never work. We're going to make sure that you end up in the streets. We're going to make sure that you can never afford a house. That's what is happening in America. In the meantime, President Trump and its entourage in government, stupid idiots, ignorant, incompetent, that only work for Israel, are going to war against Iran. What has Iran done to us in Canada? Because Prime Minister Mark Carney says that, yes, well done, America. We're going to support you. It doesn't matter what. Iran has to be destroyed. It's the proxy war, the most important proxy wars against Israel. Who cares about Israel? Lives 1,000, 3, 4, 5,000, 10,000 miles away from here. It's the most established democracy. It's not a democracy. It's something that it's a state created in order for them to live like kings and queens, while the rest of the world struggle. They influence everybody and every policy with their religion and their beliefs in the so-called Bible. I have demonstrated that Genesis 12:3 is not real. Why did the prophets came then? Why did God himself wanting to erase his own creation, the people of Israel? Because they behave like traitors. They betrayed God himself. They came, when Moses came back, they already have a golden calf. That is the only thing they believe in. And there's plenty of demonstrations in just what I said in the last few minutes. But the fact that the taxpayers of the world are supporting a state of Israel, using religion, using Catholic Church, using Christian evangelicals, misleading them into believing that God is going to come sooner if we attack Israel. Well, it's Israel who's attacking everybody else with the help of his friends in the Western tradition, which I'm pretty sure us, the people, are not being represented in that case. In this case, like we are not being represented in the case that Mark Carney just said in this statement a couple days ago or yesterday, when he said in this statement that Canada is for North America and Israel, because Israel has the right to defend itself. Iran doesn't have the right to defend itself. Any other country doesn't have the right to defend itself. You are violating the first two articles of the United Nations. You are breaking all articles that have to do with peace and understanding between nations. You don't want peace. You want to take over the world. And America is helping big time because he's a prostitute, as President Trump has demonstrated, now that he opened an account in Qatar with 50 million barrels that Venezuela have given America under his name in order to profit from that. That is illegal. That it can happen. He has go to war against Iran without the approval of the Congress. We already know that Congress is for Israel. They bow to them, so it doesn't matter. President Trump and all the administrations after the Second World War, just like President Ike, old Ike, Dwight Eisenhower, and then President Kennedy warned us about. President Kennedy didn't want Israel to have atomic weapons. One other reason for them to kill him. Ben-Gurion was very unpleasant person, like the state of Israel has always been. Why is it that Israel is like that? Because this is an invasive species that is trying to conquer the world, and it has done it for more than 2,300 years in the making. These guys want to take the world for them, except for 144,000, if I read the Bible right, which is something that has to be explained by theologians. But the problem is that more than 85% of Israeli people support the genocide in Gaza, support the taking over of the West Bank, support Canadian Americans and people from other, especially Western Europe, or the Western tradition that is Australia, New Zealand, Canada, North America, the 27 countries in the European Union, the northern countries. Australia, I mentioned already these guys, they want us to believe that we have to support Israel. We, the people, do not support Israel whatsoever in the genocidal endeavor. We do not support Canadian prime ministers and the Canadians in the Chamber of Representatives when they want to say that, oh, you're speaking against Israel, you're anti-Semitic. We don't want to use the same laws that have been applied in the United States by Stephen Miller here in Canada. No way, we don't want that. We don't want Stephen Millers in Canada. We don't want associations of Jewish pretending to be the poor guys and the always persecuted, when this state is the richest state in the world. They have healthcare, the best in the world. They have technology. They have the best schools. They have everything, the best for them. In the rest of the world, Canada is going down in economy. The inflation is taking over. I just paid $7 for some celery. $7 for a celery, man. A crop of celery. $5 for a lettuce. $35 for a little piece of steak. Okay, so this is going down. I cannot afford a house anymore. The housing prices is going super up because Larry Fink is taking over. Corporations are taking over Canada. Corporations are taking over the United States, and that's what we need to defeat. They are making money without our permission, in the case of Mark Zuckerberg, taking our information. Yeah, nice to use Facebook. Awesome. I created a platform that is called Communications Incorporated, or Communications. And guess what? I have not been supported by anyone for more than 10 years. This is the logo of the company. Communications Inc. And I cannot get any funding to create a company that can support and start competing with, that's the logo that I created, with Mark Zuckerberg and Jeff Bezos and YouTube and all these platforms. On the contrary, I've been so censored that they have taken down from 4 million viewers to 13 or none. I'm dysphonic. My voice is not running wild today or normal. But what I'm saying is the truth. We have to stop these people. The only way out, which is the project I have, React Today, as part of the World's Way Out project, is for us, the country and the world, to unite as people and defeat these politicians, these barbaric methods of interference in our governments, in the Western tradition, all these countries that are the Western tradition. Again, New Zealand, Australia, 27 countries in the European Union, the Nordic ones, Canada, and the United States. Otherwise, these corporations, Mark Zuckerberg and the super rich that are governing the United States, are going to do as they will. They're going to take Cuba and destroy it with famine, like they're doing in Gaza, in the name of hotels and in the name of what was before 1959, when the revolution of El Che Guevara and Fidel Castro took over for their people. What is for the people? Democracy, for the people, by the people. That's it. But it's not happening. They want to destroy Cuba by inanition. In other words, starving to death. They want to do the same with Colombia, with Venezuela, with everybody, accusing them of drug trafficking. Now, the option for the drugs, and I'm running here because I'm very short in time here. You have to legalize drugs. You have to legalize drugs and educate people, because the money that drugs make are billions and billions of dollars a year. Those billions of dollars are invested in banks, and the banks launder their money. So the corruption of the banking system is also something that we have to take over. We, the people, can do it. Revolution is the only answer. I have said before, the wars for independence are back. I'm not lying about that. People of America, people of the Western tradition, we need to react today to this matter, or we are not going to have a planet to live in. We are going to be enslaved, period. And the countries and the people that oppose them, these Peter Thiels, these intelligence apparatus that have been created with the special affection of the last 40 to 50 years of American governments and European compliance. European leaders don't represent the European people whatsoever. It's from Vietnam to Palestine, from Vietnam to Iran. Nowadays, we are being shown how we are not taken on account. We don't know we have no power of decision whatsoever in the Western tradition, never. Especially after the Second World War, and that is what we need to change. Otherwise, we are being colonized by super rich, stupid people that don't care for us and are only making bunkers all around the world just to tell us, the country and the world, that you are inferior, you don't have money, you fucking poor bastard. You don't have a house to live. Well, let's destroy them. Let's put them in camps, let's put them in FEMA camps. Everything that 1984 is nothing compared to the plan that these people have against us, the country and the world. It's an invasive species, man. And all the people that cooperate with them, like pigheads here in Canada, those people in the Chamber of Representatives there in England, they are coming out because of how monstrous they are. We need to fight back. We need to revolt. We need to take them down. And we need the help of the admirals and the generals that have been bought off by 30 coins of silver. Where are the generals? Where are the admirals? Where are the soldiers? Where are the colonels? Where are the value of truth? Where is the value of truth? What is the value of understanding each other? What is the value of saying, hey, we're going to help each other? But no. What's happening in these communities that I explained before, that has been covered by these journalists regarding how the Jewish Orthodox are taking over this little town not far away from Jersey, in Jersey area, is an example of colonization. And not only that, they don't want anybody else around. They don't want you to film them. They don't want you to talk to them. They're just creating communities, expanding and expanding in silence. So when they are supported by billionaires and trillionaires that are giving contracts like Peter Thiel and all these people in Palantir and many others, companies and corporations, Boeing, the weaponry corporations, industrial complex, and lobbies that the fossil fuel industry, that we need to change also very quick. The fossil fuel industry needs to be changed. Here in Alberta, we don't want to separate from Canada. The people that want to separate from Canada is the people that want to keep on going drilling. There's many people that have invented different ways of energy that we can produce for free, and we can advance our civilization instead of devolving. We can evolve to a future that can be good for all of us. Instead, the corporations are taking over, are watching us, are killing us, are disappearing us the same way that they have done with the inventors that never could patent their inventions. All of a sudden, Elon Musk comes as a king of inventions. All of a sudden, Bill Gates comes as a king of invention. All of a sudden, Jeff Bezos comes as a king of inventions. No, they're taking over the inventions of others, like Nikola Tesla's, for example. We have Wi-Fi 80, 90 years ago. We have cure for cancer with Royal Raymond Rife 70 years ago. What is the destination of these people? Poverty, killing them. The American Medical Association, for example, destroy Royal Raymond Rife, destroy his inventions, make him poor, destroy his credit. And what they're doing now is that, and many of the inventors have died taking their inventions with them and their patents with them. But don't forget, the FBI comes in, the Air Force comes in, the American government comes in, and bye-bye. People with black suits come and take over. This world is being literally colonized, and we have to react today as part of the World's Way Out project to these amazing matters that are taking over. And the war in Iran is the end of it. I hope that Iran gets the help that it needs from other countries because, like I said, it might be better that Iran had. Let us hope that the illegal war against Iran, by no other than let's hope that the illegal war against Iran be no other than the reestablishment of international order and law and not the destruction of our planet. Because this is the point in we were in now. Iran hasn't attacked us. Yes, somebody has to oppose this madness that it's beginning in the Middle East with the Arabic countries, which I am ashamed of these Muslims. I know very good believing Muslims that are doing the right thing, but the Sunnis keep turning their back on their brother Muslims. In this case, it's like Catholics and Protestants. They hate each other. In this case, it's Sunnis and Shiites. They hate each other. Awesome. The only one that benefits themselves from Catholics and Christians fighting each other, from Sunnis and Shiites fighting each other is Israel. And Israel is the one taking the world over and is the one destroying the world over. In Argentina, in Peru, in Colombia, buying land in America, in Mexico. Americans buying land in popular beaches, and the same the Jews. What is it with these people? They're an invasive species, except for the ones that are fighting against this invasive species, which is very few. I needed to say this now that the war against Iran started. Even though I have no voice, it was important for me to say this, and I don't regret it. And if I do, might be because I believe in my Jesus, and Jesus is not for this. Jesus will have supported the United Nations Charter, the Geneva Convention, the Convention for the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. And of course, he will have supported the Special Rapporteur for the United Nations for the conflict between Israel and Palestine and the West Bank and the rest of the world, which is Albanese, which has been tortured and persecuted, as many of us have been in the little media. So I don't know what else to say, guys. I hope you understand that if we don't react today to this matter, what we need is revolution, and the wars for independence are back. Let us hope that God sees what is happening, and our Jesus, not for the state of Israel, not because the preacher says that Genesis 12:3, but Oseas, Jeremiah, the other prophets that came in order to say, hey, you're not doing God's will. They don't mention that. They only mention Genesis 12:3. Even that Ted Cruz, despicable person. This Lindsey Graham saying that it's okay for Americans to go and die. It's okay for Americans to go to martyrdom for them because they're going to save the world. Save the world from what? From what you did in Iraq, Syria. It was supposed to be 5 years and it took 21. You spent trillions of dollars. America is going down. Here in Canada, everybody's going down except the rich. And the people that produce money, people that have initiatives like my corporation, have no chances whatsoever to exist and compete freely and openly against these monsters that are, again, making bunkers in case an atomic bomb happening. And you know what is the problem that only I have said, and I finished with this for the last 20 years, is that they want to do it not only in this planet, they want to do it from every solar system to another solar system. I'm the only one mentioning this. This is an invasive species that's going to go from solar system to solar system, creating civilization, destroying civilization, having fun doing it, committing genocide. This has to be the first civilization in the galaxy and in the universe to say no more. Not with us, Bo. And we have to say, the state of Israel, hey, tell your God to come and pick you up, because we the people are fighting for ourselves, and the people are fighting for the only home we have, which is this planet. And we're going to take over these rich people, and we're going to seize their accounts, and we're going to distribute it evenly towards the peoples of the world, man. Especially when they made more money. I'm talking about Peter Thiel. I'm talking about all these corporations, including Larry Fink and everybody. In this world, capitalism cannot take over because it's a disease, as has been demonstrated. Explained by Karl Marx, explained by F. Engels, explained by economists like Richard Wolff, for example, explained by many others that I can cite here. So react today as part of the World World Project, because we have very little time, and the wars for independence are back. Come on, people in Europe. Come on, people in New Zealand, Australia. React today. And you, politicians, and you, generals, commanders, colonels, admirals, in each and every country of the Western tradition, you have to react today and say, hey, what am I doing? Just gave up everything I sworn to protect and give it for 30 coins because of silver. And not even that, because when you die, you're going to see what's waiting for you. And you don't need to die to wait to know. Like the Bible says, you already have your fun here. In the other side, Epulons. Remember Epulon? The guy that said, okay, I don't like this guy. What is this beggar doing in my house? No, take that fucker. Read Epulon, guys, because that's what's going to happen to you. But we don't have to wait for that, because in the meantime, they're going to kill us all, like they began with Iran. Let's hope that Iran gives an example and other countries support Iran. Not because I'm Muslim, not because I want pro-Russia. No, because I'm pro-justice and I'm not that stupid, and the people of the world are not that dumb, you mother. That are taking off the world and destroying our planet by pleasure. And not only that, they're terraforming our planet in the meantime, dude. That's why Elon Musk talks so much to go and live in Mars, to make it on Earth, to make an Earth out of Mars. That's stupid. Let's keep this planet protected and make it ours. And for that, we need to destitute these people of power that have made billions of dollars without our permission and without our consenting information, and making trillions of dollars in surveillance companies. We need that money to be redistributed and educate people when it comes to drugs, legalize drugs, and make that capital productive for the rest of humanity. For us, for the country, for the world. Hope to see you next time, the next edition of React Today, as part of the World Wide Project. Au revoir. Bye-bye. Hasta pronto.
Iran is not an existential threat to Israel, but it is a strategic threat. Now, let's compare the records of these two countries. Iran has never attacked a neighbor. Israel has repeatedly attacked its neighbors. Iran signed the Non-Proliferation Treaty. Israel has refused to sign. Iran submits to inspection by the International Nuclear Energy Agency. Israel refuses to submit. Iran has no nuclear weapons. Israel has between 75 and 400 nuclear weapons. So Israel poses an existential threat to Iran. Now,
Okay, briefly, and then
I have one more point to make. For the last 40 years, Israel has conducted a systematic campaign of disinformation about Iran. Why the lies? Why the double standards? Why the hypocrisy?
Israel, only out of self-defense, is defending itself, and Israel has never, ever threatened another country.
Israel has attacked its neighbors, not in self-defense. One example, the first one, is the Suez War of 1956. It wasn't a war of self-defense, it was a colonial conspiracy to attack Egypt. Lebanon, 1982, was most emphatically not a war of self-defense, it was an Israeli invasion of Lebanon.
Watching people who know nothing of the horror that comes with this kind of violence. People who could not even imagine what it feels like in the pit of your stomach when you hear that one of your friends has been killed. Or watching one of your best friends be ripped apart by high explosive. Watching people who have no idea what any of this looks like or feels like celebrate this disgusts me. And then watching them turn around and tell us that these sacrifices are just what happens. We just need to be prepared for more casualties because that's what happens. It's not what fucking happens to them. It's what happens to us.
All right, I really want to show you the key excerpts of this debate that I had earlier today about the war in Iran on the Piers Morgan show. As many of you know, I avoid panels like the plague. I almost always say no because it's just people screaming over each other, trying to get attention, throwing poo at each other for the entertainment of the audience. I just would rather not do it. But when I heard that this panel was going to include the former IDF spokesman, Jonathan Kornikas, I immediately said yes, along with him on the panel, and myself was Anna Kasparian, who's become a very outspoken and articulate critic of Israel and U.S. support for it, as well as the former General Mark Kinnett, who's also served as an Assistant Secretary of State. Didn't always agree with him, but I really appreciated his candor about certain key aspects of this war, as you'll see. And there was some Iranian activist, exile type, who used to be in the Canadian legislature, who wants the U.S. and Israel to go fight a war and change the government of her country so she can go back. She's not really relevant to this particular discussion. So I'm just going to, that's the setting. Now, the guest that they had on before the panel, and I didn't realize this when I said yes, was former Vice President Mike Pence. And part of what I want to show you in the debate that I had involved my comments about Mike Pence. So I do just want to show you briefly, very briefly. I'm sorry to subject you to Mike Pence, but I had to endure him for almost 20 minutes in my ear. But I actually think it's worth it. Mike Pence is somebody who not only when he was in Congress voted for the Iraq War and publicly advocated for the Iraq War for years after it was over. He's one of the people in Washington who never bothered to apologize or admit that he was wrong. To this day, he believes the Iraq War was the right thing to do. He became an outspoken supporter of President Obama's war in Libya as well. Yet another disaster. Obviously, the war in Afghanistan, yet another disaster, all based on falsehoods and lies. And the fact that Mike Pence can go around advocating this new regime change war in Iran using basically the same exact script, not even bothering to change it. Just like Fox News, you turn that on, it sounds like 2003. They don't even bother to change the script. It's not just an insult to the intelligence of the American people who lived through that, but also just such a proof of what lack of accountability we have in our politics and journalism, that the people who sold those destructive wars based on lies are still welcomed as the experts to whom you're supposed to listen and who's supposed to have credibility. So here was just a little glimpse of what Mike Pence had to say.
This action. President Trump has unleashed the armed forces of the United States. Israel's unleashed its armed forces to take the fight really to the heart of terrorism, which is the mullahs in Tehran, many of whom have been eliminated. But now comes the time where I think we have to see this through and create the conditions where the people of Iran who have longed for freedom and democracy and human rights can reclaim their country.
We have to go to the region, fight the heart of terrorism. That used to be Baghdad. Now it's Iran. We have to go free the people and bring them democracy that they've craved for so long, which used to be the Iraqi people. Now it's the Iranian people. Same exact script. This is a person who has lied continuously as a public official to lie the country into wars, has been wrong about every war he's advocated. He barely changes the script that he used for all those other wars. And it's amazing how many people in media are also repeating the same script that they repeated themselves as servants of government messaging. Mike Pence is just so robotic that you can really see it vividly in him. All right, here was the part where I want to show you that Piers came to me. There was a lot of back and forth between Anna and the IDF spokesman. I had my own back and forth with him a couple of times. So I just want to show you the clip. It's about 7 minutes long, but I think it's really worth understanding the dynamic of what this war really is, of how Israel thinks about it, of what the IDF spokesman had to say when I questioned him. Here it is.
So do you think that the mission here is even achievable? And do you think what has happened is legal?
I am glad, Pierce, that we started the segment with Mike Pence because he is an American elected official who voted for the Iraq War in 2002, 2003, continued to defend it for many years. And unlike many American politicians who did that, who ended up saying they regretted it or it was a mistake, Mike Pence, to this very day, believes that going into Iraq was the right thing to do. And everything that he said in justification and defense of this new war was exactly the things that he and all the other American leaders who wanted this war in 2002 and 2003 were saying then. But it's not just the Iraq war. It's also exactly what happened in Libya. President Obama said, oh, don't worry, this isn't a regime change war. It's just to protect the people of Benghazi, and that it ended up being a regime change war that destroyed Libya. It's what we did in Afghanistan, where we were told, oh, we're just going in to get Osama bin Laden. And then 20 years later, our troops leave, trillions of dollars spent, huge numbers of dead, and the Taliban march right back into power. And you could even go back to Vietnam, where we were lied into that war, lied through that war by many of the same people who telling us now that we have to do this. It is astounding to me that somebody like Mike Pence or so many other people who lied to the public continuously, led our country into disastrous wars, one after the next, are now just speaking as though none of it ever happened. It would be like as if a journalist, I published 8 or 9 different fraudulent stories with fake quotes and fake sources. And then the next day I woke up and said, oh, I know I did those things in the past, but I think I should still have credibility for you to listen to my reporting today, even though I did all of that. The other point I want to make is I want to ask Jonathan, because I mean, honestly, it is very, very difficult, I have to confess, not just for me, but for the world, as the polls show, to listen to an Israeli official in an Israeli accent give lectures on the need to have compassion for civilians after everything we just watched Israel do, vaporizing tens of thousands of people in Gaza, all throughout the Middle East, attacking countries. But since he is here, I do want to ask him, Jonathan, there's a lot of reports in mainstream Western press about how the IDF has built its primary military and intelligence structures, not just within key residential areas in Tel Aviv, but also underneath. Is it true that the IDF has built key military and intelligence targets within residential areas of Tel Aviv and beneath residential targets in Tel Aviv, the way that the Western media has continuously reported? Is that actually true?
Yeah, I can give a relatively short and plain answer to it. Surprising question. I've read some of your reporting and you seem like an informed guy. But yes, the IDF headquarters, referred to as the Kiryat, is indeed located in Tel Aviv. It is surrounded by civilian buildings, and inside the headquarters, not underneath civilians, but underneath the headquarters itself, is a bunker, which is not a revolutionary concept of militaries. And that bunker is a few stories below ground. Its name is indeed the Zion citadel, and that is where some of the Israeli officers, generals conduct military operations from. I suppose some of the strikes, if not all of the strikes that are ongoing in Iran today, are managed from there. When Iran targeted that location...
Okay, I just think it's unbelievable to admit that Israel builds its key military command and intelligence structures smack dab in the middle of Tel Aviv, in the middle of residential buildings and other civilian infrastructures, not just within it, but beneath it, so that the only way you could actually bomb the key command center, where he himself said all military strikes on Iran are ordered from, obviously meaning it is a legitimate military target, is to bomb the residential buildings and use bunker bombs to get underneath to the bunker that they built. And unlike in Gaza, which is the most densely populated population on Earth, where they have basically no space everywhere where there are Gazan civilians, that's where they take up land. So there is no field or city where Hamas remote land where Hamas could build their headquarters. Israel has a whole country. And they do put certain facilities, military facilities, and intelligence facilities in isolated areas. This they chose on purpose to put in the middle of Tel Aviv, meaning that they use their civilians as human shields, what they accuse everybody else of doing. The civilians in those residential buildings, in those shopping centers, in those museums, in those restaurants, where they purposely embedded their key military command headquarters. I think he admitted it because he knew I was ready with multiple reports from all over the world proving that that's exactly what Israel does. Just extraordinary how he just so casually admits what they accuse everybody else of doing.
They've targeted it now. They have targeted it in the past, military target. It's a very big knows that it's there as human shields.
None of us should be mourning a vicious dictator. And the one thing, you said, so I want to just, I just want to show you this part where I had an exchange with a general, because one of the things that Piers Morgan asked Mike Pence about was the moral component of the war, not just the legal component. Of course, Mike Pence oozed about how moral it was for us to go and take out a savage dictator and bring freedom and democracy to the Iranian people. And here was the exchange I had with the general about that. Can I just make one quick point? Can I just make one quick point about the moral aspect that we raised? You said none of us should be mourning a vicious dictator. And the one thing, the two quick things I will say about that is, we were told that about Saddam Hussein. We were told that about Muammar Gaddafi. Certainly in Libya, we were told, Muammar Gaddafi said that's certainly a good thing. What came after in Libya was some of the worst, most nightmarish dystopia that the world has seen in the past 50 years, certainly far worse than what it had under Gaddafi. And I think a lot of this depends on what succeeds in Iran. Is it going to be this incredibly destroyed state, balkanized with anarchy, where ISIS and Al-Qaeda can fill the power vacuum as they did with the invasion of Iraq? Is it going to be an even worse tyrant like the Shah of Iran was, or some other worse militias and factions? And then the other point is, it's a little bit hard to hear the United States and Great Britain and other countries say, we're doing this for the moral reason that we want to cleanse Iran of tyranny, when our closest allies and partners in that region that we prop up and give military technology and spying technology are at least as savage and brutal dictatorships as Iran is. Saudi Arabia, Egypt, the Emiratis, going throughout the rest of the world to Uganda, Rwanda. We love dictatorships. We prop up tyrannies all the time. I think it's very hard to make a moral case, especially as you're bombing civilian places all throughout Iran, that we somehow are doing this because we want to bring freedom and democracy to the Iraqi people, the Iranian people. The last time we did change the government in Iran, we imposed a horrific dictator on them for 20, 30 years called the Shah of Iran. And now we want to do it with his son. So these moral questions are much more complex than is the Ayatollah a good or a bad guy?
Okay, Goldie Damari, you were rolling your eyes there.
We should have no moral reasons at all. Again, there was no morality in our negotiations last Thursday for no nukes, no missiles, and no proxies. And I don't think if we start getting into the moral regime change, everything you're describing, Glenn, if we're trying to get into another Iraq, that's the mission creep we don't want to see. We are now using the military force to achieve the end state that our negotiations weren't able to do. And candidly, I also agree with you that we shouldn't completely wipe out the leadership of the country. LBJ, Lyndon Baines Johnson, once said, he's an SOB, but he's our SOB. We now have Darcy Rodriguez as one of our SOBs. We have Ahmed al-Shara as one of our SOBs. Manuel Noriega in Panama was one of our SOBs. The fact remains is we ought to have a very limited mission, which is simply to use military force to compel Iran back to the negotiating table for them to give up their missiles, their nukes, and their proxies. We can do it now. We won't be able to do it when they have a nuclear weapon.
I just quickly, I agree with that.
Gamora.
I wish everybody were as candid as the general about the absence of a moral case here. And Pierce said, yeah, he agrees. I can deal with those kind of arguments. It's not true that we weren't able to achieve this in negotiations, but when he's making his case, honestly, yeah, we're not there to on some moral crusade to bring freedom and democracy to the Iranian people. We don't care that there's tyranny there. Those are all the pretexts that I can appreciate in terms of candor. Now, I want to show you one final clip. It was like 5 minutes of pure Hasbara from the IDF spokesman, just on and on and on about how Israel is so besieged and the whole world is against us, and we all and they want to destroy Israel, and they're all looking to. And I think in this exchange that I had with him emerged the actual truth about who the apocalyptic, fanatical, nuclear-armed aggressor expansionist state is in the Middle East, and it's not Iran. Listen to this.
They're serious. And I'll finish with this, Piers. The motivation from Israel is we want to live in our homeland without Iranian terror organizations, without Iranian ballistic missiles,
Lebanon,
and without
Syria,
Iranian nuclear
Jordan,
weapons
West Bank,
that are aimed at us.
Gaza.
Did your homeland include the West Bank? Did your homeland include the West Bank?
Okay, let me... I'm
going to come to you. Most definitely.
Yes,
our homeland
right?
includes
And Gaza?
Judea and Samaria.
And Gaza?
Yes, if you're asking about Judea and Samaria, if you ask about Judea and Samaria, yes, that is part of the Jewish
right, which the whole
homeland.
world thinks is not yours, which the whole world believes is not yours. You're the expansionist state, you're the aggressor
No, we're not
state, you're the
expansionist
terrorist
at
state,
all.
and you're financed by the United
a
States.
people that came back to our homeland.
That's
we were
right.
expelled from it, and we came back to our homeland.
Okay, don't talk.
And I don't think
Jonathan,
we need
you've had
to pay excuses
Jonathan,
for it.
I gave you good time, Jonathan. I want to let Glenn finish with a response to what you just said. Glenn.
I mean, this is the victim mentality. The whole world is against us. We just want to be a peaceful country. The reality is it's not the position of the Iranian government that their borders should be expanded. It's the position of the Israeli government that their borders should be radically expanded, including into places and in ways that the United States government for decades under both Democratic and Republican leadership has said is a direct threat to American interests. Settlements in the West Bank, annexing the West Bank, moving into Gaza, bombing Lebanon, expanding into Lebanon. This is the fanatical, expansionist, nuclear-armed, dangerous power in the Middle East that the United States pays for, that American soldiers die for. And this narrative used to be dominant in the West, but people have seen the true face of Israel and U.S. support for Israel over the past couple of years. And you see it in polling, not just in the United States, but around the world, that people see Israel and increasingly the United States as the rogue countries that are the true danger to the world. As an American, I wish that weren't true. I'm doing everything possible in my power to change it. A lot of other people are as well, but that is the reality for now. Okay. You know, I mean, that sums it up in my view in terms of where the United States and Israel have arrived. And I think that it is so interesting. I mean, I know as somebody who has talked about these issues for so long, the sea change is difficult to describe. It's so radical. You know, with first the Israeli destruction of Gaza that the U.S. paid for, financed, deployed troops for under Biden, and then into the Trump administration. And now with this new war that the U.S. and Israel started against Iran that is incredibly dangerous, starting up the escalatory ladder already, creating regional conflagration with so much more risk. 2 more dead American soldiers today. I think people are really it's going to be impossible to hide any longer what has been the truth about U.S. foreign policy in the Middle East. It's not about oil. Primarily, it's about this foreign power that the United States has been completely captive to for way too long.
Neither Iran or the United States want to fight each other. It's the Israelis who have been trying to pull the Iranians and the Americans into a fight.
Netanyahu's greatest dream in life is a war
between the United States and Iran.
Netanyahu will drag him into the abyss. He wants this war in the Middle East come hell or high water, and it's not in their interest.
What war?
The war with Iran.
We don't want to go to war against Iran. I don't think we should be fighting wars on behalf of Israel.
Make it clear to Netanyahu that he should not be dragging America into war with Iran.
You go fight Iran. We are American people. It's not our problem.
If they start talking to you about fighting a war with Iran, you treat them like an enemy that they are.
We should not go to war in Iran on behalf of Israel.
Against the war with Iran. It's not in America's interest, and many Americans will die, and billions will be spent on a war we don't need to fight.
Everybody wants peace, except Israel.